Diane. She is the VP of Integrated Planning at Duke Energy, and she's also one of our board of directors. So, Diane.
Great. Good morning. It's nice to see everyone. Appreciate y'all joining us this morning. And again, sorry we're not doing this in person, but wanted to keep everybody safe, but still offer the opportunity to hear from everyone and give everybody the opportunity to learn from each other. I'll take a moment just to introduce myself. I work with Duke Energy, and for those of you who may or may not be familiar with our company, we're an electric power holding company operating just in the U.S. We own and operate utilities in North and South Carolina, Florida, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky, with about 51,000 megawatts of electric generation in our purview. And we also own and operate a natural gas distribution system, serving, many of you would be familiar with Piedmont Natural Gas, which we acquired a couple of years ago. We also are in the natural gas distribution system business in the Midwest, in Ohio, Kentucky, and also a little bit in Tennessee. A lot of people don't know that we also have a commercial arm, and we're actually one of the largest renewable developers in the U.S., operating solar and wind facilities in about 20 some states. I think I saw we just added a new state yesterday, so that might be 21. But I joined Duke Energy back in 1996, so just finished my 25-year anniversary. I've done about a third on the unregulated side of the house. I actually was a power plant commercial power developer in the first part of my career, and working with large industrial customers for products and services, looking to see if they wanted their own powerhouse inside their fence. For example, we would come and work with them on that and then sell energy into the wholesale market. So about a third of my career, I've done that on the unregulated side. About a third, I've worked for the customer directly, developing products and services and new offerings, and supporting our customer call center in terms of IT and automation. And I've spent about a third of my time on the leading policy functions, both leading our federal environmental and energy policy, working with the Obama administration, for example, the Trump administration, the Environmental Protection Agency, our federal energy regulatory commissions, to develop the rules of the road for the energy industry nationally, as well as at a state level, most recently leading that function for North Carolina. And so I've recently taken on a new role. I'm, as Courtney mentioned, I'm the head of integrated planning. That's long-term strategic planning. I was asked to lead that for our Midwest and Florida utilities. And as we transition those businesses, we're looking to retire coal, build more renewables, transition to a more modernized system that can accommodate more distributed energy resources, electric vehicles. And so I've been asked to lead that function, and I've been doing that since May. So one of the things I wanted to mention in my remarks is just what an important role E4 Carolinas has played, not just for me professionally, but for the company. And Duke has really been involved in E4 Carolinas since the beginning. And it's been so important to fill that gap, in the Carolinas, where we really didn't have an association that brought together the energy companies. And so E4 has served such an important role, being a convener of those of us in the energy business or supporting the energy business. And it's been a fantastic opportunity to watch this organization grow and deepen its roots here in the Carolinas. We've been engaged with them on a number of fronts. Of course, professionally networking always is beneficial. I've also, been the benefit earlier in my career of, attending meetings and learning new subjects and being able to connect with experts. I'm now taking advantage of that, in the last, over the last several years, I send my new teammates to E4 Carolinas events. So for example, I just hired a woman who had been at Duke for 7 years, but came out of nuclear. and wanted her to get a broader perspective of energy industry basics. And so I sent her to the E4 Carolinas Energy Boot Camp to get a broad perspective. And it's a very inexpensive way to deepen knowledge of the industry business. We also have been very active in sponsoring events, looking at joining planning committees for events so that we could help shape agendas. We often serve as speakers and panelists, and it's an opportunity for us to stay engaged on the issues, and as we convene people, to be able to make sure that our company's voice is represented in those discussions. And so we've been an active member, and it's something that we have gotten a lot of value out of. So that's kind of who I am and who I'm representing today. I am excited to be kicking off and allowing y'all to introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about your company. And Courtney, if you give me a nod, I think we're ready to maybe go into the first introductions. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right. So the way this is going to work is we've got about 17 organizations. They're going to each do a little bit about their introducing their companies. They have 2 minutes, and then we're just going to roll through these. And so we're going to start, and then we will go into breakout rooms as well after that. And give folks the opportunity to engage in a smaller forum. But let's get started with those. Well, then we'll get started with Wood Environment and Infrastructure Solutions.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Diane, for teeing this up, and really thanks to E4 for putting this on. I know it is a little tougher, a little different in a virtual environment, but still certainly good to meet fellow new members, and just really excited to be part of the E4 family. And maybe full disclosure, Wood isn't actually a new member of E4. We were members, and then a crazy COVID year took a little bit of a hiatus, but certainly back and excited to be part of that E4. Really thankful to be part of that. And Diane, I think you summarized the benefits of E4. I mean, David, Courtney, and the whole team just do a fantastic job with the organization, putting on some great events, great networking, including stuff like today. So I guess that's my plug for E4, and I guess certainly happy to talk to you more about Wood. Quick background on myself, Steve Kaiser. I sit in Charlotte, North Carolina. Been with Wood and predecessor companies for about 21 years now, almost all in the power sector. And I currently serve as Vice President and Energy Sector Lead for North America for Wood. When we first became Wood a few years ago, I used to actually get asked a lot, who is Wood? Never heard of them. Kind of humorous, at least I found it to be that way, just given the fact that we are a large size company. I would joke that our tagline should be, we're the biggest company you've never heard of. Probably not good from a marketing perspective, so our guys didn't adopt that. But we are a major player in the across several sectors, footprints in the oil and gas market, mining, government, industrial, and obviously, of course, in the energy sector. You may be familiar with some of our predecessor companies, AMEC Foster Wheeler, Wood Group, even Mustang from the legacy oil and gas market. About 3 or 4 years ago, those companies combined to create the Wood family of companies. Areas of expertise, obviously a major player in the energy transition, but also supporting sustainable infrastructure, and have a pretty heavy focus and footprint in the digital and technology sectors. Something we're proud of across a lot of things. Of course, our ESG component of the company is a big deal to us. And then a bit of a bragging point, if you will. 2020 was our 2nd year in a row of being named the ENR #1 international design firm. So Courtney, if you don't mind advancing to the next slide. So certainly relevant to today's 2-minute quick introduction here. A lot of experience around energy transition. Wood's been a major player in that for quite some time, but obviously it's a very dynamic market these days. These are just kind of a snapshot of some of the players that we focus on. Obviously, solar and wind is just really exploded in the market. Wood's got some great experience from design and construction perspective. for wind and solar across all sizes, small scale, microgrid development, all the way up to the very large utility scale. We're currently supporting the largest solar development in the U.S. right now. Conventional generation, including natural gas plants, will continue to be an important part of the energy transition. Wood's got a lot of legacy experience in that market going back several decades, including, I mentioned, the legacy Foster Wheeler Group. But really excited about some of the new energy technologies, including hydrogen is getting a lot of discussion. Wood's got proprietary blue hydrogen technology, but also supporting hydrogen production, transportation, storage, and consumption of all hydrogen colors. And then also from a microgrid perspective, supporting distributed generation and geothermal and waste to energy and a number of different new technologies in the microgrid or distributed generation space. And of course, transmission and grid infrastructure improvements is an important part, whether it's for resiliency or hardening, or just interconnections for a lot of these new developments coming online. Again, from a design, construction, environmental perspective, Wood plays in all those markets. So Courtney, I think we got one more slide there. Just to kind of show you our footprint, we do believe strongly in being where our customers are located. So we've got a lot of dots on the map here, a lot of office locations to provide that local delivery, including across the E4 footprint here in the Southeast and where I'm based in Charlotte. You can see my contact information there. Would love to continue to network and engage with the new members. So Courtney, hopefully I did okay on my 2 minutes, and we'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Steve. A lot of great information. Really appreciate the visuals as you spoke about that, and I love the tagline. I'm not familiar with Wood, but I'm quite impressed. I'll be doing a little research on Wood. That's fantastic. All right, we're gonna continue on. Wilson Engineering Services is next.
Again, Dan Wilson, Wilson Engineering. Our company has offices in Pennsylvania and Charlotte, and I'm here in our Charlotte office in the Ballantyne area. We're an engineering services company, and we provide consulting across a lot of different sectors. We've been around since 2008, and we have kind of a broad perspective. All our engineering consultants have a broad perspective across different disciplines, as well as lots of different energy projects and projects in the natural resources sector, agricultural and forestry. So all that experience has really set us up to be a good energy consultant for decarbonization. And this is one of our key service areas currently. We work with clients through what we call an iterative process to decarbonize their operations. A lot of times we're working with companies that have internal resources, that have some capacity. So we are pretty flexible in how we partner with folks to meet their carbon goals and provide our expertise, where we'll do kind of an all-in package where we'll help them the whole process, or a lot of times we are plugging in as an expert to help them and meet their needs. Again, we have engineers that have a pretty broad experience, and that's good because when you get into the decarbonization for different organizations, you get into a ton of different projects. And it's really quite exciting work. It's really fun work because we get to do a lot of different things. Some of the key experience that we have that's a little different than most engineering consultants for energy is in the renewable thermal space. So we're very good at identifying opportunities and how to decarbonize the thermal sector, which is very difficult. We get involved in a lot of interesting projects, like working for utilities on decarbonizing or reducing emissions associated with gas transmission and distribution. We're working on some interesting projects with hybrid heat pumps for residences, so using gas and heat pumps at the same time to drive carbon reductions now based on current grid emissions, as well as hopefully potentially load shift across assets for utilities as peaks across natural gas and electric kind of ebb and wane. Some interesting opportunities there. We get involved in a lot of waste heat capture and bioenergy projects. Some interesting things like waste heat capture for power plants to do downtown district heating in the Northeast. And we spend a lot of time on rec aggregation as well. We have a company set up that's our sister company that does that. And so we're very good at carbon accounting and monetizing the renewable attributes associated with lots of different projects that our customers get involved in. One other thing I'll mention is because we saw a need in the marketplace for our customers, we also have a data logging package that we've developed and have been selling for a number of years now. And that's something some folks may be of interest to some folks, but it's pretty self-contained, simple and easy to use for data logging for renewable energy projects or industrial processes. And it's pretty widely used in the Northeast. There's a pretty good thermal rec program up there across different states, and folks are using our data logger for that. So happy to talk more about that or any of our services, and very much looking forward to the discussion later today.
Thanks again for the opportunity, and very happy to meet with you all today. I'm Brett Rampal. I'm the Director of Nuclear Innovation at Clean Air Task Force. I'm based here in Charlotte, North Carolina. A little bit quickly about CATF. We're celebrating our 25th year in operation this year, October 1st. Actually, we have an event coming up to celebrate. We're headquartered in Boston, but we have 60 plus full-time employees spread almost completely across the globe at this point. Plans for increased growth, and I've been at CATF for 4 years, and we've doubled in size in that time, and growth beyond that now since then, and further plans. And CATF is a fully philanthropic-based organization funded by donations and philanthropic grants. And our goal and aspiration is to lead the world to a high energy, zero carbon planet. This is some of our presence spread around the world, and where we currently have work and projects, and where we're looking at expanding into, or I should say our plans for expansion. Pardon me, just stood up our Europe office this year and standing up our Africa office right now and in the coming months. And then kind of why we focus on energy and industry when talking about the global climate or global decarbonization or global clean energy challenges and commitments that the world is pursuing right now. 75% of all emissions come from that sector versus everything else. And this is kind of the way we see the world right now, predominantly run by fossil fuels, 80%, predominantly run by unabated fossil fuels, 80% primary energy from fossil fuels, and we, providing liquid fuels as well as electricity. And this is kind of the advocacy or the why CATF exists, the future that we believe is most practical and economic and practically achieves the clean energy goals that we're pursuing. And so these are the focus areas that we primarily look into and have project areas. And like I said, I lead or help lead our nuclear focus area at Clean Air Task Force. And just again showing kind of the scale of the problem, great growth and great opportunities, but still 10 years 20 years on, 80% of primary world energy consumption still is unabated fossil fuels. So what we do research, and we collaborate with academic and not other knowledge centers. We do policy advocacy and public education, as well as working with the industry to catalyze development, technology innovation, and future financing opportunities for clean energy technologies. And we like to think that we're slightly different because we push all possible solutions. We're driven by the need for large scale change, and we're evidence-based and not ideological driven. So that's Clean Air Task Force for you. And again, thank you so much for the opportunity here today.
Great. Thank you, Brett. I've had the opportunity to work with Armand Cohen over the years and Clean Air Task Force as well. And just really appreciate the good work y'all do there. Look forward to talking more as we get into our Q&A. Southeast Biopower Coalition.
Well, good morning. I'm Gary Milo. I'm the coordinator for the Southeast Biopower Coalition. We're a coalition of biomass power generation generators in Georgia and the Carolinas. What we do is we advocate for the biomass power industry. I say domestic biomass power because mostly people are familiar with biomass in the Southeast as an export pellet industry. What we do is we capture that material and convert it to electricity right in the region and the communities where those resources originate. We have 4 members, 2 in South Carolina, 1 in North Carolina, 1 in Georgia. And essentially what we do is we are wood fiber managers, and on the climate side, we're carbon managers. So what we do is we divert waste wood from the waste stream. So that would be logging residuals, sanitation, silviculture, forest management practices. And as that wood fiber moves along the value chain, we recover the energy value. So limbs and tops from tree harvesting, we extract the energy from that. The saw log goes to the primary mill, secondary mill. They create wood waste, and we capture that, all the way to diverting crates and pallets. Once that wood product has outlived its useful life, we divert it from a landfill and recover the energy from it. So on the resource side of our equation, we're a tool for materials management and forest management as well. If you're doing thinnings or habitat work, quite often that material has no economic value. So we buy that material as a fuel resource and become an economic tool for forest management. On the energy side, we're base load renewable power generation. So we offset power generation from fossil fuel generators, so that has carbon benefit. But most importantly, we provide a lot of support to the bulk power supply system. As a base load generator, we can run 24/7. That provides a lot of services to the transmission distribution infrastructure. We can run as long as we have fuel. And as a renewable resource, we provide a carbon neutral solution to intermittent resources that don't generate all the time and dependent on the wind and the sun. So we are independent power producers. We sell wholesale power to utilities in the region, Georgia Power, Santee Cooper, and Duke Energy. And our model is such that our fuel resources have to be sustainably procured. From the life cycle analysis and a carbon accounting standpoint, our benefit derives by offsetting the carbon emissions that would have occurred with that material had it not been converted to energy. So we, as a coalition, we have a great story to tell. We have a great role to play in the energy portfolio in the region. And as a coalition, my job is to tell that story about how we service forest resources, as well as some ag industry too. We use poultry litter and some ag-based fuel resources, and then also what we do to ensure an affordable, reliable supply of electricity to the customers in the Southeast. That's all I have. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Gary. All right, next we have Osmose, and please correct me if I've mispronounced that.
No, that's right, Diane. Thank you. I'm Steve Wacker from Osmose, and the name does come from osmosis, so pronunciation is correct. We're a power grid structural resiliency company. Think of us as just about anything that sticks out of the ground and holds wires up in the air. For electricity, that would be cable, phone, telecoms. We manage those assets. So wood poles, steel towers, everything. You can go to the next slide, Courtney. So we've been around for a long time. We basically invented this business back in the 50s and 60s, and the guy in the lower left is actually doing the same thing as the guys on the top of the picture. It's just that the coating we put on there to prevent decay has gotten a little more sophisticated from our R&D efforts. I put the animation in the middle is because we have, 60 years of experience. So we've got an awful lot of data on wood poles and steel structures. And our analytics team that we put together 10 years ago, we can take that data, put it into some databases, put some engineering analysis around it. And then we can do simulations on those electric lines to see what happens if you put 125 miles an hour, 140 miles an hour. And the result is we can be much more surgical, telling a utility or a pole owner where they need to reinforce that pole in order to prevent that line from going down in a storm. The pole on the right is it's a steel structure. There's a little more engineering behind it, but we took that pole, can withstand now a 125 mile an hour wind rather than the usual 80 or 90 that they designed it for probably 5-10 years ago. So it's a resiliency, structural resiliency for the grid is what we call it. You can go to the next one, Courtney. This is an example of some of our steel work. This is a foundation restoration for a steel tower on the transmission grid. One of the reasons I put it in there is to highlight that this is not particularly pleasant work. So one of our core competencies is the retention or the hiring and the training of a crew, and then the retention of that crew so that we can respond to the needs of the utility, whoever owns that transmission pole or that wood pole. So that's about it. I just wanted to emphasize that we are in the business with the utilities and structure owners of extending those assets. So like in this case here, you can imagine what it cost if they had to take the grid down to replace that tower because the foundation was no longer any good. It's a day's outage cost a utility a couple $1 million, Diane, I think, or probably more on a transmission grid. And then you kind of saw what happened in New Orleans. Those are transmission grids that went down, feeding New Orleans. We don't know the cause yet. Probably in some cases it was a foundation issue with that particular structure. So we're here to manage those assets on behalf of the owners. Thanks, Diane.
Great. Thank you, Steve. There's two thoughts that come to mind. The first is when I look at this picture and I love seeing the old black and whites, because our industry's been around so long. So thank you for sharing those. And then Mike Rowe comes to mind on Dirty Jobs. This may be one you might want to send that as a suggestion in for him. I know he sometimes does some energy industry work, but you're right. That's a tough job right there. And I think we were just hearing in Louisiana, I think there's still 26,000 people without power. They're going on day 24 in Louisiana, and it's not a good day when we lose those big transmission towers. It just takes so long. So thank you, Steve. Next is FoxGuard Solutions.
Thank you, Diane, Courtney, and E4 for hosting this event. Really appreciate the opportunity to introduce FoxGuard and meet some colleagues here. Just to echo what Diane said earlier about the Energy Boot Camp program, I've gone through that as well as several of my FoxGuard colleagues. If anybody has not done that, I would highly recommend that. It's very beneficial and informative, both for people who have been around the industry for a long time as well as newcomers. So that's my plug for the boot camp. But I'm Keith Phelps, FoxGuard Solutions. I'm located in Mooresville, North Carolina. FoxGuard provides cybersecurity and industrial computing solutions. A little bit of background on FoxGuard. We've been around since 1981. We are a wholly owned subsidiary of Framatome. If anybody is familiar with Framatome or works in the nuclear industry, you're probably familiar with Framatome, as they're a very large player in the nuclear space, providing engineering services, fuel services, control system installation, maintenance across the board. So Framatome purchased FoxGuard in 2019, mainly for our cybersecurity expertise, allowing them to bring our cybersecurity solutions to the nuclear space. We're located in Christiansburg, Virginia. We've got about 120 employees. And again, our two business units are cybersecurity and industrial computing. So some of the areas that we operate in addition to the nuclear space that's kind of come to us through Framatome, we also operate in all aspects of the bulk electric system, transmission and distribution systems. We have cybersecurity and computing solutions in power generation plants, wind farms, substations. And then one thing I wanted to mention real quick about DoD, that's not related to any of the energy space that we're working in here, but one of the things that we're doing a lot with now is focusing on CMMC compliance solutions, which is cybersecurity maturity model certification and compliance. So if anybody is doing business with the DoD in the future, a requirement for that is to be CMMC certified, and FoxGuard can help with that endeavor as well. So one last final slide here, exactly what we do in cybersecurity. We really help entities with their overall cybersecurity posture. Sort of our bread and butter claim to fame is patch management and patching for operational technology, OT type devices. And on the industrial computing side, we really operate and help OEMs and end users with computing solutions where a traditional, ordinary off-the-shelf computer probably won't work, whether it's due to the environment that it's being used in. Maybe it needs special certifications like substation certifications or special marine certifications, or they're looking for a solution that's going to be available for 5, 7, 10 plus years, which is certainly not something that you're going to see with a commercial off-the-shelf computer. So appreciate the time this morning and looking forward to working with E4 and the other members.
Great. Thank you, Keith. All right. Next we have GEL or GEL Engineering.
Actually, quick story. So we started out life as General Engineering Laboratories. And we rebranded many years ago to drop that name and just keep the GEL.
Oh.
So that's what it comes from. It's a little history and background, but yeah, people call us GEL or people, but we prefer GEL.
Yeah.
Frankly, if anybody calls us, we're okay with that.
Yeah. Well, are you an organization of acronyms as well? I don't know, but we certainly are. And even within our company, you know, each department has its own set. So regardless of what you're, you know, what we call something or what we name something, probably within about 10 days, we've got an acronym for it. We've shortened it.
Again, my name is Jim Pazda. I'm the Director of Business Development and a principal of the firm in GEL Engineering. GEL Engineering is actually a member group, here we go, of the GEL Group or GEL Group. And actually this year we're celebrating our 40th year. So we're very proud about that. We're privately owned and headquartered here in Charleston, South Carolina. We have about 300 people all in the entire group. The group also consists of GEL Laboratories, which is a large single site, high throughput analytical lab, does chemistry, radiochemistry, bioassay, radiobioassay work. And then GEL Solutions, which is a technical firm, but they do geophysics, traditional geophysics, and have subsurface utility engineering for mapping and surveying for that. Also has Cape Fear Analytical, which is an analytical lab in Wilmington, North Carolina. They do low-level docs and FEAR analysis. And then GEL Engineering, which I'm a member of, or I'm part of. But the laboratory and analytical has a worldwide reach with the work that they do, and GEL Solutions and ourselves, GEL Engineering, is more southeast of the United States. Our clients generally are power generation for distribution, and power generation could be fossil, nuclear, or renewables. We also work heavily in the industrial manufacturing space, and then also natural resources and conservation. GEL Engineering provides really three main service lines: environmental, engineering, and surveying. That's broken down further into 7 service groups. The permitting compliance, which does the air, water, wastewater, waste compliance programs for industry. and then air emissions and stack testing. We actually just opened up a stack testing office in Louisville, Kentucky this week. So we're going to be able to provide it up there in that area of the country. The environmental group, which actually does both industrial and engineering environmental projects, and then also land transaction, phase 1, phase 2 kind of work. Field services to do all the sampling, industrial hygiene, again, civil engineering and surveying. And our civil engineers and surveyors, they focus on the heavy industrial projects with our client base. Along the bottom, as you showed, where we're located, again, headquartered in Charleston, South Carolina, but have offices in Columbia and Greenville in South Carolina, Asheville and Raleigh, North Carolina, and then we work out of other offices wherever our group has different locations. So that's us in a nutshell. Appreciate the opportunity and look forward to further conversation. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Jim, for introducing GEL. All right, next we have BHE GT&S.
My name is Bruce McKay. I'm Senior Director of External Affairs at BHE GT&S. And you probably have no idea what that is, and I'm going to explain that just about 1 year ago, Dominion Energy decided to sell its interstate gas pipeline business, storage, and LNG business to Berkshire Hathaway Energy. And about 1,600 of us were tapped on the shoulder and said, hey, how would you like to go to work for Berkshire Hathaway Energy? We all quickly thought, okay, that sounds good. I just wonder what this Berkshire Hathaway Energy is all about. We may know little bits of it. We then looked and saw just the size and scale and scope of Berkshire Hathaway's energy assets. This gives you a picture of it nationwide. Really, it's a global company. And then I'll drill down to what gas transmission and storage is, GT&S, the part that we all work for. So Berkshire Hathaway Energy obviously is part of Berkshire Hathaway. It's over 90% owned by Berkshire Hathaway. It's electric utilities, gas utilities, renewables, pipelines. Over in Britain, it has a large electric distribution company, assets in Canada and other places. So it's really a large company, but in the Berkshire Hathaway business model, each company is independently run by its own localized management under a set of principles and guidelines and all from the parent company of Berkshire Hathaway Energy. So I won't run through all the stats on the right side there. Courtney, if you could flip to the next page, you will see what GT&S is. Again, that's gas transmission and storage. That's the part that about 1,600 of us went over, and we call it a $8 billion startup company, as we were tasked with starting up a new business under Berkshire Hathaway Energy. We're headquartered in Richmond, Virginia, have some major operating centers in South Carolina as well as in West Virginia. About 1,650 employees. We're in about 12 states. Our key states, as you can see on the map there where the red lines are, that's our pipeline system. South Carolina, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio. We have LNG facilities, the Cove Point LNG export terminal in Maryland. Our company owns 25% of that and operates it for the partnership, which includes Dominion Energy and an infrastructure investment group, the four of us. We have an LNG business up in Pennsylvania that we just cut the ribbon on a few months ago. It takes Marcellus shale gas, liquefies it, and trucks it throughout the region. We have LNG facilities down in Alabama and in Florida. In Florida, it sits in Jacksonville, and it can truck LNG from its center, but it also is on the coast, and we can put LNG on a bunkering vessel and go out and refuel an international shipping vessel, a cruise ship, what have you. That is an area of growth for us. We also recently fueled the first LNG fueled vessel up in one of the Great Lakes using LNG from our Pennsylvania facility. So that's really what the company is. Our eastern assets are part of the BHE Pipeline Group. It also includes Northern Natural in the center part of the country and Kern River Pipeline out west. So Berkshire Hathaway now has pipeline systems really across the U.S. and you put the three together, and I think we move about 20% of the gas in North America through our system. And I've been a part of E4 for quite a while when I was at Dominion. So it was a pretty easy decision to get GTNS as a member once the deal closed last November. We're coming up on our 1-year anniversary of being an independent company under BHE. That's it.
Great. Thank you, Bruce. All right. Next is Velocity.
So good morning, everyone. My name is Lubin Gerasimenko. I'm principal of Velocity Incorporated. Velocity is a US-based company with international talent that advises top management of our clients on identifying, developing ambitious, transformative business opportunities in energy, industrials, and international trade, involving as needed project finance or development finance. On micro level, we help initiate, evaluate, and implement efficiency-driven business and practice transformations and improve profitability of operations. The company's principals engaged previously in infrastructure development, finance management, strategy implementation, and business optimization assignments spanning 4 industries on 4 continents. Among other things, we helped realize 5 industrial acquisitions and post-acquisition integrations totaling $2 billion, as well as infrastructure developments in excess of $2 billion, including 2,000 megawatts of power generation capacities across a broad range of traditional and renewable technologies. Some of them, I proudly say, one of a kind, and in some very interesting areas of the world. Private business relations include some top names in their respective sectors. Currently, we're helping a US subsidiary of an international mining conglomerate develop a decarbonization program for their highly carbon-intensive business. Once again, this is a Velocity, and I'm Lubin Gerasimenko. No fancy pictures, sorry, but a chest full of war stories. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, next we have Southeast Energy Efficiency Alliance.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, Diane. So I am Pamela Fan. I'm the Director of Membership and Diversity Integration for Southeast Energy Efficiency Alliance, or SEIA, as we are known as. We are one of 6 regional energy efficiency offices, and we support the 11 Southeast states, the Carolinas being a couple of them. My job is as Director of Membership and Diversity Integration. On one hand, I support our membership through recruitment and prospecting, and also support. And then on the other leg of that, I also support our internal diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, as well as I also consult with our members on their own diversity inclusion efforts. So that's my role. A little bit about SEIA. You can advance the slide for me, Courtney. So that just tells you a little bit about who we are. We are considered a convener. We are a nonprofit member organization. Some of you may be familiar with the other RIOs that are in different parts of the US. We do convening through our members, who are mostly comprised of all the utilities in the Southeast, as well as servicers, corporations, nonprofits, higher education, and others. And so, yeah, we do a lot of convening, a lot of great work around with our members around ensuring that energy efficiency and really energy in itself is affordable, that it is accessible, and it is a catalyst for economic growth. Next slide, please. Some of our areas of work that we support are energy efficiency policy, the built environment, energy efficient transportation, and regional investments. And that is pretty much all that I have. Again, we are a nonprofit member organization. We're considered a convener. E4 is a collaborator with us, as well as other nonprofit and other organizations throughout the Southeast. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and check out our website, and you can go in, look at a list of our members and see who's all there. And if you're interested, just reach out to me.
Great. Thank you, Pamela. All right. Look forward to our discussion later. All right. Next is Good Solar Organization.
So yeah, Ethan Blumenthal, co-founder and CEO of Good Solar Organization. We are a 501c3 based here in North Carolina, but looking throughout the Southeast. We actually were founded, me and my the other co-founder, we're looking at solar regulation, specifically HB 589's implementation here in North Carolina as we were graduating UNC Law, and looked at a couple of different provisions within that and viewed it as an opportunity to help low and moderate income communities and other nonprofit organizations get greater access to renewable energy resources. So through that, we've been doing a number of different things. Through COVID, we made a bit of a pivot towards education, helping run Greening Our Faith Community Summit, which was mainly virtual, but based here in Charlotte. Also having run multiple iterations of a North Carolina Climate Ambassador Training Program with other organizations, including Clean Air NC, formerly Clean Air Carolinas, and Eco America, among others. We are currently moving to try to run a Solarize program, a bulk purchasing program, just a suburb outside of Charlotte. Don't want to get cart in front of the horse here, say something too early, but hopefully we'll be working just outside of Charlotte on a bulk purchasing campaign to try to bring down the overall costs for those looking to add rooftop solar. Trying to add a nonprofit component of that as well. There's a HBCU, a historically Black college, that we have involved in that program. So we're trying to stand up, be a consultant, trying to help run these Solarize programs, while also standing up Good Solar as a green bank, a loan fund really oriented towards other nonprofits, helping them get access to renewables if they don't have the upfront costs. And through other partnerships with other organizations, really looking to add that financing component for the low and moderate income household sector as well here in North Carolina and throughout. So looking forward to talking more, and thanks for having us. And back to you, Diane.
Great, thank you, Ethan. How about CDG Engineers?
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me. My name is Pat McAvoy. I am the North Carolina office manager for CDG Engineers. I'm a principal in the company. My background is in electrical engineering, and actually just got recently stopped managing the electrical engineering department. We're based out of St. Louis. We opened our office in Charlotte at the beginning of this year, just based on legacy business in the area. So we were founded in 1992. Predecessor company goes back to about 1941. We're a full service firm, so we have structural, electrical, mechanical, civil, mining, and some architecture. Most of our clients is repeat business. We're pretty well financially stable. We're 80 plus employees of the engineering, about 10 to 12 folks in each engineering discipline. We pride ourselves on low employee turnover. We tend to have senior staff on project management and doing the engineering design, being a smaller business. The markets we serve are electric utilities, industrial facilities, mining, material handling, federal and local state governments. We started kind of in the coal industry, funny enough, and then we followed that from coal mining. We kind of followed that into coal handling at power plants and generation. And we were following that transition into solar, renewables, and the like. So we're not really a coal reliant engineering firm anymore. A lot of our design is retrofit type design. We pride ourselves on complicated problem solving. So legacy retrofit type design. On the structural side, we can do transmission, T&D, structural assessments. Civil engineering has a lot of good background in grading plans and site assessments and surveying. Electrically, we're doing a lot of work in relaying and MCC replacements, upgrades, new electrical systems, especially in existing installations. So that's a little bit about us. Thanks.
Great, thank you, Patrick. And do you go by Patrick or Pat?
Either one. I'm Patrick when I'm in trouble. Pat is usually when you're happy with me. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Pat. That
Thank
was
you.
yep. Well done. All right. Next we have Sync Energy.
My name is Robert Cabrera, and I am the founder and president of Sync Energy, and we're a climate defense company. So a lot of risks on the grid in this day and era are from extreme weather related events, storms, hurricanes, tornadoes, and most recently, thunderstorms in the Northeast. And it turns out majority of the budget for energy companies, especially utilities, goes to vegetation management. We have a partner that spends $100 million each year on VM, but still 92% of the power outages come from VM. And so what Sync does is an energy AI platform that specializes in visualizing vegetation-related risks on infrastructure, especially during weather events. So we do this for cities. We have a project with Charlotte where we're helping map the city's 250,000 trees, what are likely to be the hotspot areas, and what's going to be the related damages. An example project we just finished with Alabama Power is on the bottom right. Essentially what we do is we use high resolution satellite images. We run the assets and the vegetation in a virtual weather tunnel, and we tell you specifically what are your high risk trees. And in addition to that, we tell you sort of what's going to be the impact of that event. How many customers are going to lose power, how many incidents, the duration of the outage, the call volume. And I mean, Diane, for you who's in integrated planning, right? IRP is something you do every year. And your job is to be able to tell what are the risks for the next 12 months, the next 5 years, and be able to list what are the mitigation strategies and justify those. So we do that extremely well so that sort of your risk spend efficiency can be very high. And why is this relevant today? On the top right is a graph from the new IPCC report. It shows us that basically all these crazy weather events we're seeing, they're not random. It's because we're 1 degree hotter than we were 100 years ago. And as a result, we're seeing 4.8 times more frequency and magnitude in weather events. And if we go up by half a degree, which is our best case scenario, we're going to see 8.6 times more of this. Now, a lot of people are investing in net zero and climate and decarbonization, but those results are going to come 50, 100 years from now. Between now and when we're able to control the temperature, we have to put in place climate resilience and adaptation solutions. That is what climate defense is. And so some of the things we're able to provide to customers is to identify the affected span on the grid, the probability of the outage, the number of incidents, how many customers are going to be affected, and if you have renewable energy resources, how are those going to be affected? We visualize all this in a no-code platform. The project we did with Alabama Power, we were able to visualize the number of customers and the vegetation up to a 96% efficiency 4 months in advance. And for Hurricane Zeta, we visualized those risks 2 weeks in advance, 87% accurate. And so essentially running simulations, visualizing those risks ahead of time so you can know how to deal with them. That is what we specialize in. And that's Sync in a nutshell. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob. All right, Bailey and Dixon.
From the Bailey and Dixon Law Firm, I'm Patrick Buffkin. Bailey and Dixon's a full-service law firm. Together with our colleagues in real estate and civil litigation, employment law, we're positioned to help companies in the energy and utility industry or anything infrastructure related. I'm here today representing the energy and utilities law practice section of our law firm, and my colleague Christina Kress, who sends regrets she wasn't able to be with us personally. Christina and I are both former staff attorneys for the North Carolina Utilities Commission, and we have support from the former chief clerk of the commission, Kim Campbell, who's our paralegal and consultant in-house. You'll see our pictures there in the bottom left of the slide, and you'll see the little logo under my picture. That's to note that I am a board certified specialist in utilities law, one of 15 in the state. Christina will be sitting for the exam in a couple months, and we expect her to be number 16 or 17, depending on the order of results. Honored to be with you. What an amazing group of professionals and companies. I see a few familiar faces or names, and it's great to be with you all. Wish we could be in person. Look forward to a time when we can. I've been in the energy business since about 2005, and I've always found a lot of value in E4 Carolinas and the work that we've been doing together for these many years. My background, mostly in electricity and renewable energy. I've lobbied the legislature for investor-owned electric companies and electric cooperatives before joining the Utilities Commission staff and then transitioning to Bailey and Dixon in the spring of this year. And you'll see on the right half of the slide some representative work that we do or are doing. We represent manufacturing and technology companies in electric and natural gas rate cases. We represent qualifying facilities in PURPA and avoided cost matters, litigate electric territory law issues. We're still involved in legislative work with House Bill 951 going through the process right now. We also represent water and sewer utilities at the North Carolina Utilities Commission in various proceedings and advise solar facility developers or landowners that are entering into solar development in an advisory capacity. So again, we do all things infrastructure and energy related, and we think we bring a lot of expertise and specialized knowledge in that area, and look forward to working with you all today and getting to know you a little better.
Great. Thank you, Patrick. All right. Parsons.
Okay, so I got the dreaded time slot. I'm the last guy after 17 presentations. So hopefully I still got everybody engaged and awake. So I appreciate the time. Quick introduction. So again, my name is Scott Pape. I'm VP of Business Development for Parsons, focused on the utility sector. Relatively new to Parsons. I started with Parsons in April of this year, but I've been in Charlotte since 2012. And Diane, I remember it because I took over the Duke Energy account for Areva back in 2012, 12 days after the Progress Energy merger. So that's how I remember. But yeah, based out of Charlotte, I've been involved with E4 Carolinas with some of my former companies. So glad to be part of it again. Next slide. Okay, so like Steve Kaiser mentioned before, a lot of times with utilities, I understand that people don't know anything about Parsons. But a quick overview. So Parsons has been around 75 years, initially as a critical infrastructure company, roads, bridges, highways, railroads, that type of thing. And through the years, we've kind of evolved into two various businesses. One is Federal Solutions, and the other is our initial critical infrastructure organization. We're a $4 billion company, about $2 billion each in Federal Solutions and critical infrastructure. We got roughly 16,000 employees worldwide. And to Steve's point, one company we are not is Worley Parsons. A lot of people get us confused with Worley Parsons. Parsons actually sold off a chunk of its engineering business about 15 years ago to Worley, and they integrated our name into their name. Since then, because of the time frame involved after the acquisition, they've been forced to drop that part of their name, but just want to make that clarification. Next slide. So I just highlight this. We got a lot of global presence. Obviously, a big chunk of that is in North America, 11,000 employees. But in addition to the U.S., we also have extensive locations and employees in Canada. We do a lot of mining activities up in Canada, and then also in the Middle East, where we manage a lot of city infrastructure programs for Saudi Arabia, UAE, and some of the other Middle East countries. Next slide. So within critical infrastructure, I'm in the division, industrial division, and some of our key capabilities we do within industrial, oil, gas, and chemical companies, mining, utilities and communications, manufacturing, and state and government agencies. And next slide. But I really wanted to focus on this slide. This is the sector that I represent and collaborate with other energy customers within the utilities sector. We do specialize in multiple generation operations, energy storage, T&D, substation, gas transmission and distribution is one of our major offerings and customers that we work with. Renewable generation, not so much EPC contractors, but more focused on design of solar and other EV operations, and also being owners engineers for utilities, gas storage, and gas quality. And within those particular utilities, we have 4 main value propositions that we offer to the customers: project management and construction management services, engineering, design and inspections, environmental services is one of our big categories that we work with utilities. As a matter of fact, we were involved with Duke Energy about 5 years ago in some of their coal ash and remediation and cleanup activities. And then we also have several technology nuggets that we offer, T&D type inspection services, also virtual inspections that we utilize quite a bit with supply chains and operations within utilities, and cybersecurity and drone technology. Next slide, please. So this, I just wanted to leave behind my contact information. Like I said, I've been involved with E4 Carolinas in the past, and looking to forward to collaborating with the existing and new members. So thank you very much for the time.
Great. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. All right. Let's go back and see if we have Labella.
My name is Susan Wiley. I am the director of our government affairs and community relations work at Labella. I do not have slides, so we are really coming into this from the standpoint of just kind of networking and introducing ourselves and saying hello. But Labella is we are based in Rochester, New York. We've got about 1,300 employees and offices pretty much throughout the eastern part of the United States, and as far south as North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama. We are a full service design consulting firm. So originally began as an engineering firm many years ago, took on architecture and a range of building services, design services. We now are at the point where we really we touch just about everything you can think of with respect to the built environment. So, market sectors ranging from the building market itself, as well as transportation, environmental, certainly energy and power, waste and recycling. So it's our energy and power component that really drew us to our interest in E4, and recognizing that this is a very strong, robust membership. We're very much looking forward to partnership opportunities and providing our expertise where we can too. So certainly interested in any committee work, helping to organize programs, conferences, etc. Our biggest office in the North Carolina, South Carolina region is in Charlotte. I think we've got, I don't know the exact number, but I believe we've got about 50 or 60 employees in the Charlotte office and then other locations throughout the Carolinas. We are heavily into renewables. Our solar business is very robust, and we're looking to expand into certainly other areas of renewables, and how not just renewables in and of themselves, but how the use of renewable energy can be part of a full portfolio of services in terms of really master planning and bringing together a range of different areas of expertise that Labella provides. So we're very happy to be on board. I wish we could all be in person, meet in person, of course, because really Labella is very anxious to make the most of this relationship and contribute where we can.
Great. Thank you so much, Susan. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And for and the flexibility when we have technical trouble.
Right.
So thank you. What we'd also like to do today is invite some of our not senior, but existing members to maybe also provide their perspective on membership and open up the floor as well.
Hi, yeah, this is sorry about the lack of video, but I'm Selena Schaefer. I'm the Director of Generator Sales for Americas at Siemens Energy. That's a big mouthful, but I was just telling my breakout group, today is my 35th work anniversary with Westinghouse and Siemens Energy, and I started out in Orlando. I've been in power generation and generators basically my entire career, whether it be engineering, project management, marketing, sales. I'm now in sales for industrial size generators or synchronous condensers. I joined E4, or I was in the executive leaders group in 2020. We had one in-person session, I think, and then we went virtual for the whole rest of the time, which they did an excellent job transitioning right in the middle. They just didn't give us enough time for lunch. Dave just says, okay, go grab your lunch and come right back. But it also made the days shorter. I really wish we could have done some of the in-person visits that we had planned on, not only with the group, but going to different sites to see the things which was mentioned as that would be something good they would like to see. And I think once we get past COVID, we can get back to that kind of thing. I think E4 still owes me some visits when that time comes. So I look forward to that. But definitely networking is a huge opportunity to meet different people in the industry. Charlotte's is a hub for energy. So this is an opportunity to get to meet people you wouldn't normally interface with, and perhaps give each other ideas you may not have had for the business as well as the energy industry. Welcome all new members. But I joined our project teams too. We had two project teams. One was within the executive leaders and one was in conjunction with the emerging leaders. And I thought both of those I was having a lot of fun researching the different topics to come up with our project response. So I'm not sure if that's still part of the program or if it's a little different now with having the boot camp versus the 1 year or 9 months. But I found that to be very interesting.
Very good. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see, I'm looking through. Courtney, do we have Trillian on? I was looking at the attendees, or
I have John from Santee Cooper. He's still online as well, if he's want to pop in and say some words.
Well, normally when I'm in several different organizations, so when you have a meet and greet, you just don't have the new people meet each other. There's always somebody who's been part of the organization for a minute to help them understand what they're actually getting and the benefits from it. And as a member of E4 for a while at Santee Cooper, but as an individual, I think that this has been a wonderful experience. You definitely keep us up to date with everything that's going on in our region, whether it's North or South Carolina. And it gives you an opportunity to reach out to other people that you normally, like they said, don't get a chance to meet and have any type of formal or informal interaction with. And I think this is a wonderful platform for us to continue growth and taking care of the people in our region, whether it's outside of North or South Carolina or beyond on the whole East Coast. I was surprised that somebody in my breakout group was in Rochester, New York. So that just shows you the depth and the length of how far this organization will and can grow. And with that being said, that's all I have. But I look forward to seeing you and talking to you from different platforms or different educational projects that we'll be working on. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, John, for sharing. So I'd like to thank everybody for their participation today. Hope you found this valuable. I learned a lot about a lot of new companies. Very interested to go back. The event is being recorded. And so, I'm looking forward to reaching out to these new members at future events, learning more about the representatives personally. Being able to shake your hand and continue working with each of you in this organization going forward. And so really appreciate your participation today, and I hope you found this valuable.